from Bungoma, Gongwa, MONBASA, MVITA, Battle of the Essence, SATIRE style. They wanted to define battle like never before. The essence of warfare were in the battlefield. SATIRE was hovering like a drone on a mission. He released arrow after arrow and enemies were incensed. They called a quick meeting and realized, without a lie, they would lose to SATIRE. The enemy generals decided that a lie would suffice in this case. SATIRE's son was called Aswatthama or Dhamma or righteousness. There was an elephant in the battlefield called Aswatthama, but on their side. So they decided they have to kill the elephant Aswatthama and shout in celebration that they had killed Aswatthama, the warrior. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the problems we have in the world. We say this is a war against caste status. It's not war against an individual, but war against caste status. What has been happening in life is that those who are not righteous, those who are not chaste in the ways of life, keep killing the elephant called Aswatthama or Dhamma. What they do is they are able to perform whatever they want and hide under the disguise of righteousness. They are the best donors in most of the places. They present themselves as the holiest people in most of the religions. Yes, and on whatever front, they appear to be the champions of fighting corruption. Name them all those evil things that we name. Whereas they are wallowing in the same. That is what has been happening around the world. People who purport to fight evil, but actually they are the embodiment of evil itself. So what happens in this world is whenever people genuinely want to fight evil, they gang up and tarnish this person or these people. They overturn everything. They overturn the tables, and these people are the ones who are seen as bad. And because of what they have, they are able to sustain that because this is a commercial world, a world of finances. So many of the people who fight for Dhamma are always frustrated because the game is always turned against them. But in this place, in this battle of Kurukshetra in the Gita or the Bhagavad Gita, they killed the elephant Aswatthama, and SATIRE was incensed and was hit by grief. He lost his composure. He lost caution, and they were able to strike him down during that particular moment when he had lost composure. What am I saying? I'm saying that for those who go after evil, they should always know that they'll meet all sorts of resistance. They should always know that big forces will come against them. But they should not lose their composure. They should remain focused. That is what happened in this battle. The enemies formed the chakra or the box array. In many cases, when evil is taking its place, there are people who make formations around people. And they are the ones who will hit out anybody who tries to talk against evil. They are the praising party for this person or these people. And whenever I say something, you are reminded, that one is a giver, that one is a holy man, that one is a fighter of corruption. So outside, they are the embodiment of righteousness. Below the curtains, they wallow in unrighteousness. So what happened in that battle? After Drone had been fallen, another mighty warrior, Bhishma, who, due to another chakra formation, box formation, had been boxed in the evil place, the wrong side of history, because he'd taken an oath when he was young. He would protect the status quo on the other side. And this time, he had to face his nephew, Arjun, on the righteous side. Knowing he is righteous, but he's tied in the unrighteous place because of his status, or because of the new status he's gotten in. And here, he was wondering, now what do I do? I swore I would protect the status, but now a situation has come when I'm faced with Arjun, face to face with righteousness. It was difficult for uncle to go against nephew, a nephew he had brought up, a nephew he had trained to be a warrior. And so was the same to the nephew. You are going against your uncle, who you know is tied by oath, but is not unrighteous. And he's the one who trained you how to war. And they could not have that vigor, that anger, that aggression for war, because this one looks and sees an uncle, and the uncle looks and sees a nephew, and they decided to play war games. But this was a real war. So Krishna, who was the charioteer of Arjun, decided that he was going to end the war. So he invoked the solar disk and wanted to strike Bhishma. But Bhishma, knowing that Arjun was his nephew, but Krishna was the Lord of righteousness, he told Krishna, I cannot raise a weapon against you. If you are releasing the solar disk, let me be struck, but I'll not be struck armed, I'll not be struck in a chariot, I'll be struck on the ground worshipping. So Krishna could not be able to do that. But Arjun said, now, because this is warfare, we have to look for another warrior to replace me. So he looked for another warrior called Shikanti. Shikanti was a warrior in the former life. We are talking of reincarnation. It goes across all religions. was a woman in the former life, and Bhishma had rejected him. And in that former life, and she lived a very bitter woman, but she was reborn a man. And now it was that anger versus this fighter. And now Krishna was the charioteer of Shikanti. Shikanti stands for revenge of the suppressed people. For the claim of righteousness, Bhishma stands for a mighty warrior that is imprisoned in the status quo by those surrounding the box formation. And every time Shikanti would score, because this time she scored, she was fighting with a real anger. Anytime she would score, he would score because he's now a warrior in the other life, a man. Bhishma would cry out, "That is an arrow from my nephew Arjun." And there were so many arrows that when he fell, he could not touch the ground. He was left hanging. But he had the boon of life. That was, his life could only be taken out by the God and the mother who had given that boon. So he remained in pain, hanging on those arrows. And as that was happening, another unfair thing was taking place in the same battlefield. Yes, a brother to Arjun, whose mother had born out of wedlock but had hidden that she had any other child, though this man got to know the brothers and knew Arjun was his young brother. And they are in a battlefield. And here is brother facing brother. This brother is also like Bhishma, encased in the box of evil by oath, but he's a righteous man. So they faced off with his brother. Best archers, archer against archer, charioteer against charioteer. And he was almost winning. But a curse that had been invoked by Brahma, that during battle, his chariot wheels will get stuck. And his chariot wheels got stuck. And like any warrior, when your chariot can't move, they had rules that if it's the chariot that is stuck, the warrior can get off the chariot, remove the chariot from the place where it's stuck, and then you start the battle again. But Arjun was so scared that when Karna left the chariot, he released an arrow to a man who was unarmed, a man who was removing the chariot, and beheaded Karna's head. Little did he know that he had killed his elder brother. When they went to Bhishma, because in the evening they were two families that were related, but in the evening they would even mix in camps and would consult their uncle, who was now hanging on the arrows, Bhishma. That's when Bhishma released the secret. This was your brother. It was a sad moment, but it had happened in battle. What am I talking about? Sometimes in this battle for righteousness, you might find going against your very own. And it is for you to decide, would you get entrapped like Bhishma and Karna in the box array, the chakra of evil, so that history judges you as evil? Or would you be Drona, also a sage, righteous, but boxed in evil, trying to revenge a son purportedly killed but not killed? Or will you be Aswatthama, because eventually he also came and he wanted to revenge his father's death, and he released the strongest weapon that was there, the Brahma's weapon. He took a blade of grass, canted incantation, and it was turned into the Brahma's weapon. What am I saying? I'm saying there are times when things have pressed people so much, and people rise up to the situation and they want to achieve what is rightfully theirs. Will you, like Aswatthama, come out for the truth? Or will you, like Drona, rush to revenge on a falsehood that has been told by people who are against righteousness? This is the situation the world is facing. I've tried to put it in the Indian style, the satire style of the jitta, of things happening. We are faced with this tough situation worldwide. Shall we remain for the status quo, oppression, and a certain stage caste that oppresses but you're afraid to live? Or shall we stand for the truth, no matter how much we are maligned, and ensure that we are not caught in the place where Bhishma, where sage Drona, where Karna were caught? Oath. You tied by the oath. It's time that even if you've taken an oath in any place, jump out to the righteous side, so that when history judges, you shall not be judged in the wrong side. You will be judged in the right side. The ones who are incensed by evil remained true to their cause, went against evil. Didn't matter how much the cause of the maligning was. And by God's grace, because I know the world is changing, people will achieve Dharma. People will achieve what is right, the balance for the people. So in this situation, balance. Find your level. Will I stick with the unrighteous because I'm an oath, or I'm part of the box? Or would you go to the lonely place? They say the path for righteousness is a lonely place sometimes, because it has opposition, it has oppression, it has everything facing you. And the part for the box of evil, chakra, where the people are when they are from the chakra array of attack and praising those who are purportedly suppressing them or doing whatever things that are evil against them. Praise them from has got a lot of good things. You don't get resistance, you don't get everything, and you feel you're on top of the world. But eventually, it always ends up like what happened to Bhishma, what happened to Karna, and what happened to Drona. In this world, according to your visitations, according to your religions, I'm using the Jita, but be you a Christian, be you a Muslim, be you in Judaism, be you in Buddhism, be you in Shinto, can those visitations be able to enlighten you, to make you find a balance so that you work for the world to be a better place to live in than what it is? Because the world is in the place that it is in because of pretense and because of people choosing a place that they are used to. They don't want changes. They don't mind about the oppression. They would rather side with the oppression or everything and not experience the resistance, the rejection that comes with being on the other side. I started by saying this is a phonetic interpretation of gangster language. Wreck your brains. Find your balance in this unbalanced world. Will you be for Dharma, righteousness? Or will you be against righteousness? The choice is yours. History will judge you according to the decisions you make. That's my take for now. Bhagavad Gita style. That's my take for now.